Your brand may be staying on top of current trends, but are you agile enough to stay relevant, resilient, and successful as customers, competition, and the world continues to change at a breakneck pace? I'm thrilled to share the newly revised version of my first book, The Agile Brand. I'm calling it The Agile Brand Revisited. It's been updated to reflect our continually changing world, and it provides 7 principles that form the backbone of an agile brand, offering detailed insights and actionable steps for incorporating them into your business strategy. This is the book that started it all, and I'm excited to share it with you. It's now available in print and digital formats and available everywhere. Learn more by going to the Agile Brand Guide website at www.agilebrandguide.com. Welcome to Season 4 of the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom, where we discuss business agility through customer experience, employee experience, and digital transformation. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom. The Agile World podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to TEKsystems.com. To read more about the topics discussed on this show, you can go to my website at gregkihlstrom.com and read my latest articles or get a copy of my latest book, Meaningful Measurement of the Customer Experience, now available on Amazon and other retailers. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce you to a new sponsor of the show, Basecamp. Throughout my career, whether it was at my own agency or now as a consultant, Basecamp is what I've always relied on to help keep projects on track, on schedule, and on budget. It takes a straightforward approach to project management, it streamlines workflow management, and definitely keeps the team in the loop and on top of ongoing updates, which are all major components in a smooth-running operation. No matter if it's a simple campaign or a multi-million-dollar project, Basecamp has been a key ingredient in the recipe for a successful project and business. Go to basecamp.com/agile and sign up today to start a free 30-day trial. There's no credit card required, and you can cancel online at any time. If you want to know if Basecamp is right for your team, signing up for that free trial is the best way to do so. Remember to go to basecamp.com/agile, that's basecamp.com/AGILE to get your free trial. Thank you, Basecamp, for sponsoring this episode. Now, let's meet our guest. My name is Greg Kihlstrom, and I'm the host of the Agile Brand podcast. Today, we're going to talk about creating a great post-purchase customer experience. To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Irina Poddubnaia, founder of Trackmage. Irina, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Greg. Really excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So before we get into it here, why don't you start by giving a little background on yourself and as well as a brief introduction to Trackmage?
I started off my career as a sales professional, and at some point I just decided to move to China and start my own business at the same time. It wasn't a very smart idea. And when we moved to China, we were running a fulfillment center there, where we were fulfilling a lot of orders and shipping them across the globe. So that was the point where we discovered the importance of post-purchase experience and exactly how it influenced our income and profit. So what we've been seeing is that customers, they got really anxious waiting for the goods, and especially from China, that takes a lot of time to ship them and for them to get the products. So we discovered that when we provided the proactive updates, we've seen less chargebacks and refunds. And that's when we realized that this probably is a pain point on its own that can be solved for more businesses than ours. That's when the Trackmage was born, literally crafted in the trenches when we were solving our own problem. And later on, when everything transitioned online and that business in China closed, so we moved back to Bulgaria. And that's when we discovered that we can just make it its own product. Yeah. So that's how my journey started.
That's great. Yeah. And so you have real firsthand experience with some of the challenges as well as the opportunities that this product Trackmage provides. So that's great. Well, let's start by talking about what it takes to create a great post-purchase customer experience. So to start, let's talk about some of the pain points. So what do brands often get wrong with their post-purchase experience?
Well, there are quite frankly, there are a lot of things that can go wrong with post-purchase experience, but the most common one is not having post-purchase experience. Literally, there is just a buy button. The customer places an order, and then nothing happens for maybe a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks. And the customer just kind of forgets about their purchase. And the brand is literally expecting no reaction from the customer. And that's why they're getting a lot of customer support requests. And they're getting swamped with questions like, where is my order? And there is a term in supply chain management, it's called WISMO. Where is my order? Exactly. That acronym stands for that question, which comprises up to 70% of customer support load in retail. Wow. So so the post-purchase experience is very important if you want to not only create a good relationship with a customer, it's to just literally protect your business from chargebacks, refunds, and other, and even creating the load on your customer support. Yeah. So post-purchase experience, it's not only for creating customer retention and loyalty, but also for lowering the cost of doing business with those customers.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because some organizations, they might have skeptics, let's call it, of people that are not necessarily sold on going above and beyond, on the customer experience. That sounds like it sounds expensive to those that don't really understand the value in it. So it's looking at it it's almost risk mitigation, right? Is a way to look at it.
It's almost risk prevention, I would say, because it's much easier to justify the costs when the fire is already happening. So we are putting out fires upon fires upon fires, and we literally feel like we are doing something meaningful. But when we switch into the fire prevention mode, and when we look for optimization points that can prevent bad customer experience in the first place, those negative reviews on social media or those different customer complaints that we're getting as retailers. So when we are switching to fire prevention mode, we literally revolutionize our business, because all those problems, they stop plaguing the supply chain and the marketing department, and like all the marketing literally comes from the customers, because they have good customer experience, they share good reviews, and the business grows.
Yeah. So what about companies that are doing it right? What are they doing differently? How are they thinking about this post-purchase customer experience?
So the companies that are thinking right, they put customer experience and post-purchase customer experience as part of marketing. The common belief in the industry is that the customer support and post-purchase experience are the cost centers, but really they are the profit centers. So when you have a good post-purchase experience, you actually create this trust between you and the customer. And the customers, they tend to buy more from the brands whom they trust. And if you invest in good post-purchase experience and you invest in good customer support, you actually invest in those customers' second purchase, third purchase, fourth, and so on. So you literally create a more sustainable business that grows exponentially. Because what tends to happen in the industry is that marketing is mainly focused around customer acquisition, not customer retention. So when you are retaining those customers, you don't really have to acquire that many customers anymore to continue growing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always so many shifts in industries. I think there's been a bit of a focus on separating marketing and customer experience. But I hear you say this and totally agree with you that there's an opportunity. I mean, often with customers that I work with, we're looking at things like customer lifetime value, which, is not just an acquisition play. It's exactly what you're saying, which is, okay, let's certainly get the customer in the door, but let's make sure they're happy and they're buying again, and they're buying more often, and they're, bringing their friends too. Right. So yeah. I think that's, you know, what advice would you have to a company where, they're having a hard time making that case?
I would definitely start from troubleshooting all the points of contact and seeing how the customer experience actually looks from the outside. So literally buy your own product and buy it from a mystery shopping, like another email, another address, so that your employees don't really understand that it's you. And see how it looks from the customer's standpoint. So, do I answer the customer requests? How long does it take to get an email? What information did you get? What information didn't you get? How did it look? I mean, in the end, when you received the product, were you asked to leave a review? When were you asked to leave a review? Because sometimes that only happens if the customer reaches out to customer support and then they are asked to evaluate the service. But usually when people reach out to customer support, something already went wrong, so that they had to ask.
Yeah, and so just for clarification as well, what are there any industries or any focus areas that Trackmage deals with, just to kind of get a sense of your customer base?
Trackmage is exclusively working with e-commerce, and we are working with those businesses that have some physical goods that are moving from point A to point Z.
Yeah.
So we are mainly in physical goods. So we don't help with digital products or some courses or other stuff that doesn't have to be shipped.
Got it. And then by that token, I would imagine if you're selling digital goods, there can be that instant gratification of like download or get instant access. But yeah, the companies that you're dealing with, there's that wait time, there's the delivery experience, there's the, I guess, the hassle of returning if they need to return stuff. So there's a lot of challenges, but there's also a lot of opportunity, right?
Definitely. The online retailers and wholesalers, they have very unique challenges, and it's borderline between marketing and supply chain and all the hard stuff of a business.
What trends are you seeing? Obviously, over the last few years, there's been a lot of things going on, a lot of changes, supply chain issues, all of those kinds of things. But what trends are you seeing now that companies in e-commerce selling physical goods should pay attention to?
Well, I'm seeing a very interesting trend that started recently, and it's getting stronger. So it started recently with Shopify, for example, inviting influencers and creators to the platform. Also, there was another platform, I don't remember their name, that launched TikTok endorsements, paid TikTok endorsements platform, where the customers can actually just record a video of them using the product, and they are going to get paid once they post it on TikTok.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing is this merger between creative side of social media and retail. So it's more and more intertwined, and more those influencers from various platforms, they're gaining power over consumer needs. So if, for example, one of the Kardashians show the product, there is definitely going to be demand for that product.
Right.
So like what I'm seeing right now with pandemic or no pandemic is that creators are more and more important right now on the platforms and overall over the internet.
Great. So let's switch topics here a little bit. I see that you have a background in Lean Six Sigma. We share that. It sounds like you might have a little more experience in practice with it, but just curious about a couple things. So can you talk a little bit about how you've used that approach and where you've seen the greatest success using Lean Six Sigma?
Well, we've used Lean Six Sigma in multiple optimization endeavors. So basically just the typical Lean Six Sigma project where we take a not straightforward process with multiple moving parts and people in place. And then we apply Lean Six Sigma to really clarify what are the metrics, what should be optimized, And usually what we tend to find are those friction or acceleration points. So the friction points are the ones that are slowing the growth or resulting in some rework or returns or refunds, exactly what I was talking about in the beginning. And the acceleration points are the ones that actually propel the growth. Something like the customer sharing a review on social media, or the customer inviting their friend to make a purchase, or some other things that don't cost the brand any money, but actually bring extra sales in.
Yeah.
So with Lean Six Sigma, all of those metrics, they contribute to the final result. So what we discovered with a lot of e-commerce companies is that they have even challenges with some things like accounting, bookkeeping, or counting the money. A lot of businesses don't even know if they lost the money or earned the money when they're selling the products, which is really fun to work with, because you invest, let's say, $20,000, and then you get minus 3,000 in return. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So with Lean Six Sigma in place, we were able to help those businesses actually straighten that process out and understand if they're losing money or they're earning money. And based on Lean Six Sigma, we were also able to tell which products were gaining that like the most growth for the business, versus the ones that were actually the lost leaders, but were not really influencing much of the customer acquisition.
Yeah, that's great. So how about the relationship between Lean Six Sigma and Agile? Do they, how do they work together? Do they work together? How have you seen them coexist, if that's possible?
Well, this is probably my favorite question out of all the questions that you've asked. So this one is so what I usually explain is that Lean Six Sigma is applicable when the process is predictable or when you have a standard result.
Yeah.
And Agile works with unpredictable or very dynamic environment where you have changes upon changes, and you have to adapt all the time. So, for example, e-commerce business has both parts, and different kinds of processes should be applied to those two different parts. So the part that is agile and definitely stays agile all the time is marketing, because you always need to create new inventive ways to acquire customers, to create different campaigns, and it's never the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when it comes to shipping products, restocking, making sure that the inventory is there, making sure that the shipments are getting shipped on time, this is lean, because this process is predictable, and shipping one package doesn't differ from shipping another package.
Yeah.
Unlike in marketing, where every creative is unique, and you have to produce different creatives for different campaigns.
Yeah, I like that way of putting it, and it's it's good to know that they can it's basically using the right tool for the job, right? And and those can, to your point, there's plenty of room for both in a lot of organizations, probably in most organizations, I would say, because there are definitely going to be repeatable. If nothing was repeatable, that you'd have problems too, right? So
being too agile is called Kanban, like where you're literally just like, oh yes, this is the new fire, this is the new priority. And sometimes the companies, they never get out of this perpetual Kanban where like, let's fix this next, this is the new fire, this is the new priority. And we've all seen those companies where the urgent, important, critical, top priority is the only way to tell that this is actually the thing they're working on.
Yeah, you have to keep creating new labels almost for higher priority or something like that.
Yeah, because everyone is hysterically waiting for the next big thing, and they are
Right.
always just like, okay, what is more important than critical? Probably urgent, right?
Right, right. It's like naming a document final, like never ever do that because it's never going to be the final draft of a document, right?
Yeah,
So,
I've seen some of those cases where like it's a final document.
right, right. Or final version 23 or something like that. Yeah. Nice. Well, one last question before we wrap up here. We talked about some trends and certainly some best practices, but in as an e-commerce organization is looking at the months ahead, what advice would you have for them? Like what should they be looking into and trying to do as they navigate the next few months?
I would definitely advise to focus on customer retention. Because the trends suggest that we are entering recession. Some people already say that we've entered recession. Previously, when COVID hit, everyone was talking about trying times. Oh, we didn't even know. At that
Right.
point, everything was growing, especially online retail, like the e-commerce businesses, they were booming
Right.
because everyone was buying online due to the simple fact that they couldn't go to the stores and they couldn't restock. But now, when the COVID is no longer big news and like everyone calmed down a little bit, we're seeing the rebound. When the consumers, they stop spending that much and they just try to save, and also the news contribute to that because everyone is saying like recession. So that actually creates this consumer, like I would say, scarcity mindset in their mind. And then the businesses, to stay afloat and to stay alive, they need to focus on retaining the customers that are already with them and not so much on growth or acquisition. It's just like, yes, definitely you still should continue acquiring customers, but retaining as much as possible from those customers that you acquired, it makes sense because actually it's going to ensure that your business stays afloat even if you stop acquiring new customers for some reason.
Yeah, that's wonderful advice. Well, Irina, thanks so much for joining. For those listening, what's the best way for them to keep up with what you're doing?
I believe they should visit trackmage.com. That's our website. Currently, we're redesigning, and it's going to be really awesome once we roll it out.
Nice.
So, trackmage.com.
Wonderful. Well, again, I'd like to thank Irina Poddubnaia, founder of Trackmage, for joining the show. Thanks for listening to the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom. Talk with you next week. Thanks again for listening to the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom podcast, brought to you by TEKsystems. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe on your podcast channel of choice and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes of the show at www.theagilebrand.show. To get a copy of my latest book, Meaningful Measurement of the Customer Experience, visit my website at gregkihlstrom.com. Until next week, stay agile.